I think that there's different type of Christians. There's casual Christian, there's cultural Christians, and there's committed Christians. And I kind of want to break down what I believe each of those things mean to me. Casual Christian, I believe, are like people who believe in God but don't really know God, right? They believe that God, might exist, and they can't like bank on it that he's real, right? But they have like a belief. They more believe than don't that he exists, but they don't really know him, right? Casual Christian is like somebody who, in emergencies, right? When you really need to call out to God, they call out to God then. When they really need God is when they speak to him. They're more just casual about it. And they're also still attached to the world. So the casual Christians are like 1 foot in the world, 1 foot wanting to believe, but not really sure, can't really stand on it. But they belong to the world still. And these type of Christians, the casual Christians, are probably the most harmless because they're not really on a side, kind of lukewarm, kind of like everything goes. That's kind of the casual Christians, but you don't see too much fruit coming from. And then there's the cultural Christians. These ones are very interesting. Cultural Christians are like ones that want to be better, but they don't really know themselves. So they identify with the word. They identify with Christianity. They identify with the Bible. And the Bible becomes their identity. Cultural Christians are very, very interesting people. And how do I know is because I was a cultural Christian as well. It was a short phase for me. I started to realize I was a cultural Christian. But cultural Christians, they grow comfortable in identifying with the Bible. And what they do typically is they just live life based off of what they believe is right. So if the Bible says don't sin, then they operate in that place. So they try not to sin, or when they don't sin, they think that they're following the Bible, they're doing right, and then they look down on people who engage in these things, right? They identify with the Bible or the rules of the Bible. When it says do this, don't do that, do this, don't do that, they identify with that and they judge based off of that. And typically they don't really know themselves, so they identify with this. These type of people are the most influential, to be honest. The cultural Christians are the most influential. Why? Because to the average person, the person who is ignorant, doesn't know nothing, right? They look at the cultural Christians, and the cultural Christians appear as they have it together. They're able to appear a certain way. And because of that, the ignorant person gravitates towards that appearance. And it's like, oh, they must have it together because they talk like this, they act like this, they have that, right? The appearance is there. So they're the most influential because they can pass off to the ignorant person. So they actually are the ones who shift the culture, to be honest. It's because they appear righteous, but they also preach emotionally. This is why they're so influential, right? Because they appear as righteous, they look righteous, but they also preach the emotional thing. They're emotional, they're screaming, they're crying, they're acting out, they're putting on this show by way of emotions, right? The world relates to that. It's very relatable because everybody at some point or it deals with emotions. So they really are the most impactful as of today as the cultural Christians. So that's what's interesting. And then there's the committed Christian. The committed Christians are the ones who know God and they know peace and they seek for more. And the committed Christians are the ones that are the most hated because they're like they're the real deal, because the committed Christians are the ones who, for one, are honest, right? They seek to overcome. They're honest with themselves. They're honest about their behavior. They're honest, right? They're not in denial. They don't hide. They're real about themselves, right? They look within. But the reason why the committed Christians are most hated is because the committed Christians have authority. Most people don't like authority. Most people in the world do not like authority because authority can feel intimidating. It can feel scary. It can feel like, who do you think you are? And people get jealous of that. People are offended by that. But the thing about committed Christians is like they're very like they shine. They have a light about them. They have like a charisma about them. They have like a approachable personality. They're very relatable, but they're not pleasers. They don't live to please others because they do what's right. So people are attracted to them. People gravitate to them, but people don't stay around them, or people turn on them. Reason why is because they're not into pleasing, they're into the right thing. People don't like that. They reject that because they feel offended by it. They don't like anybody they don't like to be dominated. Committed Christians are typically ones who aren't necessarily trying to be dominant, right? You're not trying to be dominant. You're not trying to be tough. You're not trying to be intimidating. People just recognize that authority in you. They walk with a confidence, right? They're more grounded in themselves. So they just have this confidence, and people are afraid of it and don't know why. So they love it. They're attracted to it. They're influenced by it. But when they get close, it burns them. They get burnt because they can't handle what comes with that, right? They can't handle straight talk. They can't handle honesty. They can't handle not being pleased. So they run away. So that's why the committed Christians tend to be the most hated. And that's like what Jesus was.